There's two bald eagles sitting up there in that tree. They've been flying around. It's our majestic symbol of America. Even though they do raid other birds' nests, eat roadkill, but they sure are cool to look at. Okay, there's the bridge at Lone Rock. There's some horrible construction going on over there, clanging and banging and twisting of metal and dumping of rocks. Right now I'm fortunate enough to actually have a tailwind, which is propelling me along. I'm guessing I go between the green and red buoys there. I guess we'll find out in a moment. Here we go through the Gauntlet of Doom. Of course, whenever there's obstacles, red buoys, green buoys, things to watch out for, the best thing to do is get out your camera and start filming stuff, because that way you don't have your hand on the paddle to get in the way of recording events. Not sure what all this fuss is about. Like I said before, they are doing construction farther down the way, but who knows? Work zone. That thing says work zone. That's a working buoy, where these other ones are just lazy. You need to go get a job. Huh. I think my chances of surviving this event are pretty good. Oh, there's one of the beepy trucks. You can hear that for miles down the river. I was thinking they were right up my butt when I was camping last night, but they were really like a few miles away. Okay, I think at some point I'm gonna have to paddle. See ya. If you're wondering, this is about as rough as the Wisconsin River comes. I just went underneath the bridge, and the river really narrows here, so it's picked up speed. I got a tailwind. If you look at the shore, you can see I'm kind of whipping along right now, not paddling, saving the elbows, wrists, and fingers for further on down the river. You can see in the distance there, boy, the leaves are just starting to change, but you know, nothing's bright yet, but you can see it's just the very beginning. Anyway, this is as good as it gets. Narrow river, fast current, slight tailwind, no paddling, and better yet, I'm getting farther and farther away from the beeping noise from those construction trucks, because you know, out on that bridge there's a lot of little kids and nobody wants to run them over, because you know, that's where the little kids are, right behind that big steam shovel thing. It's back there, you can't see it. So what do we got coming up? Oh, look at this, another bridge. Not sure where the heck I am. The other curious thing here, if you look down, can you see this? The water's only like 6 inches deep maybe, and I'm out in the middle of a wide piece of the river and it feels like I'm not moving, but obviously I'm going along at a pretty good pace. So I'm kind of taking a nap. For all to work out the way I planned, at the end of the day I need to be about the halfway point. A little shy, I might still make it. A little long, all the better. Oh, talking about shallow water, I think I might be running aground. You see this little line here in the water? That's where it gets deep again. So if between here and there I run aground, then I'm going to have to get out and drag my damn boat. So it's coming up in mere moments. Isn't this incredible drama? Am I going to make it? like the last 10 feet. And after this, it will get deep again. You see? Maybe this is really boring. Ooh, made it with no scrapes. Well, I've been waiting here for the last hour. They're gone now, but the wind was so strong, there were white caps all the way across here. And what I found out yesterday is that paddling around in those conditions just causes unduly amounts of stress to joints, and that unintelligent creation called ligaments, which are the duct tape of the human body. All that crap just gets yanked on and pulled on. So it makes more sense just to sit out the last of the maximum heat of the day and then paddle later. And I got off yesterday, but the mistake I made was that I set up camp, and an hour later the camp's all set up, I'm eating food, and I look like, oh, everything's calmed down. I could have put in a couple more hours. So today's plan is wait this out. This already looks way calmer. Put in some extra time, pretty much paddle to sunset. I'm going to stay on goal. This is day 3. Got to be at the halfway point. Where am I now? Oh, I'm here. See? So there, I made it that far. What are all these bugs? I was gonna go wash off in there, but I can't interrupt all these bugs jacuzzi party here. So gonna wait till tonight when I camp, wherever the heck I'm camping. Well, I might have started just a little bit too early. The wind is still honking, but I'm playing my trick of finding the leeward side of the river and hanging out there. I just had to do a bunch of paddling to get here, but man, it's really a beautiful evening right now. Be nice if there was a little bit more current. It's kind of slow back here, but I got to give everything a break. The upside is I put on a few more miles, and the sun has still got an hour and a half, so maybe I can put a few more. I'm getting close to some highway over here. I can see the cars moving around. So, and if you just look up here, I mean, the trees are blasted back and forth and you hear the roar of the wind. But you got to find these little spots like this where I can hide out and then just coast along, give the body a break. Okay, there's a little beach right there, and it's been a very long day of paddling, and that's where I'm setting up camp. And I've already made my gruel. Gruel, I'm gonna eat that. And I'm pooped, but today's worked out really well. Well, there's the bridge at Muskota. These bridges really are a definitive point on this trip, because although the scenery is ever changing, for the most part, you're in the river watching the trees go by. I've had different skies every day I've been on the river. Today is low pressure aloft and high winds. You see the contrails stick around forever, or for dumb people, that's chemtrails. But when there's very low pressure, of course, the humidity sticks around. The low pressure helps form clouds. High pressure dissipates them. So the moisture in the jets just sticks around and around and around and around. Day 1 was small cumulus clouds, which was very consistent with that low wind day, just occasional thermal puffs. Day 2 was all full of mare's tail, which showed that there was a lot of activity in the atmosphere. And that was my windy day that just thrashed me. So, wait, there's goodbye to the bridge. And we're going back here. All right, here's the, I don't know what the hell it is, bridge. I thought the next bridge was Boscobel. I can't imagine I've come that far, though. That seems ridiculous. This is kind of interesting, though. There's a old bridge abutment here from, no doubt, an old bridge, the new bridge behind, but a tree has planted itself right in the middle of that. So, kind of interesting. You know, I've seen rivers where on the bridges, they say what highway you're going over. This one, however, says nothing. It's got some chalk marks. Here we go. Tree and an old steel bridge abutment. That's kind of odd. You know, I was gonna say that there's some graffiti under here, but I think they're marking stuff. I don't know. Kind of odd. Oh, there's the deadly bridge abutment right there. Oh, it's gonna eat me alive. Let's get a little farther away. Oh yeah, there we go. Anyway, where am I? I don't know. Well, there's today's goal, the Boscobel Bridge. Got here way earlier than I thought I would. I have had a 0 headwind day, which means there wasn't that couple of hours of futility, basically getting nowhere, or where I just pull out and wait it out. The tailwinds actually got a significant amount of oomph, but they never got up to the headwind 20-mile-an-hour whitecap on the river kind of thing. If that was the case, I might be blasting along at, you know, over 10 miles an hour and then really bring up the time. Let's see, we have one of those cranes over there. I've seen a million of them take off in flight as I go by. The camera's never usually out. This guy, oh, there we go. Oh my God, there we go. He went, and now I sort of took a picture of it, kind of. Morning has broken. Someone should fix it. It was working fine just yesterday. We'll give it a jiggle. Turn it on and off. That seems to fix things most of the time. Well, it's day 5, early morning. Camera's twitching to try and stay in focus. I was going to try and show you something, but you know, I got an Apple product, so you know, it's doing weird things. Let's try this. Now, if you can hear me amongst the howling of the cars on the highway, the great big trucks with their super loud tires, right on the edge where of the shore there, where the water meets the land, you'll see there's an inversion which is making an upside down reflection of just the first couple of feet. And I saw this yesterday morning too. Because the air really close to the water is significantly colder than the air just a little ways up. So it causes that little mini inversion, reflects the image upside down. It kind of makes it look like there's little cliff faces over there, but when we get over there, you'll find out that it's just bushes and trees in the water, just like everywhere else. All right, here's the thing that I said didn't happen yesterday. I have an absolutely howling, bending over the trees, causing ripples and waves on the lake, river, tailwind. It is just absolutely blasting. And good thing it's behind me. If it was in front of me, I'd still be in my tent and just bail on the day. So I think the thing is, I'm going to go as far as I can today. And if I get close to the Mississippi, just set up camp, even if that means potentially sitting there a day before I get picked up. Because you know, make hay while the sun shines. If this was blowing in the other direction, I would be lucky to get in 5 miles in the entire day. So I'm going to cover as much of this as I can and see how it goes. All right, this is simply great. I'm cruising along at a really good pace. You notice the complete absence of paddling going on. And God, it looks like I got a couple of miles. So this is where you save the body. By just sitting here and letting the world go by, which is the best of the best. I just slipped in the mud, made myself all muddy and wet, and cut my toe. That's the downside to the day. Otherwise, it's been another one of these downwind days. The full-on monstrous breeze has stopped, but now it's just lightly downwind. And boy, what is it about these logs that whenever I'm videotaping, I need to start paying attention? Darn. Okay, here's the thing I keep running into on this river. There's a channel here, there's a channel there, there's a channel there. And you got to decide, which one am I going to go through? I'm usually kind of unnecessarily worried that I'm going to end up in some backwater that goes nowhere. But there's enough current on this river, so those are few and far between. The other thing is some of the channels are slow and some of them are fast. And you'd rather cruise along like not paddling if that's an option. I think today's choice is middle one. I'm gonna go there, even though my boat is now pointing there, but it's kind of got a mind of its own. In front of me, I see the bridge that goes to Bridgeport, Wisconsin. And that was always the point where I said, if I make it there, I've got it made. I'm going all the way to the Mississippi. And so, barring shark attack, Civil War, things like that, I'm going to the Mississippi. There's not that much farther to go. Now, I started this trip with a lot of pessimism, and for this exact reason. I set myself a few physical goals, things that I wanted to do this year, and I failed. Not only did I fail to make the goals, but I also had kind of backup goals that were lesser. And then underneath that, I even had minimum acceptable goals where, look, if you don't at least do this, I'm just going to be pissed. And I didn't make the minimum acceptable goals. And so when I got on the river, yes, the idea was to go to the Mississippi, but I was going like, how's everything else worked out so far? Maybe your arm's going to fall off. Like, I'll be pedaling along. It's like that scene in Monty Python. Come back here and I'll bite you because my damn arm fell off. You know, who knows? So, you know, I was going like, well, kind of had in the back of my mind, well, if I made it to Muskota, then I'd say, okay, fine. But I think the difference between those earlier goals is they were things like skiing, hiking the Colorado Trail. These are really, really physical, intense goals that I had. And this is the beautiful thing about river travel that has a current, is like, this is what I was able to do most of the time. Sit here and go like, look, turtles on a log. Look, yet another bald eagle. Look, a fish jumped. The leaves are kind of changing. And so maybe there's a point, you know, going forward with the second half of my 60s, because I will be 65 in just a few weeks, is thinking of goals. Well, let me put it to you this way. This is what I figured out. Distance is a good goal. Going to the Mississippi is a good goal. Hiking for a week, that's a good goal. One is distance, one is amount of time. Where the problem comes in is when you have a goal that is a certain distance in a certain time. And when you think about it, it's kind of anti-adventure, because if you're paddling along, skiing along, hiking along, and you go, hey, what's that over there? Let's go check it out. Well, maybe something you've never seen before. Maybe you check out something that's really cool. That's adventure. But if you're going like, well, I got to get to this certain point at this certain time, and then I can't waste time having an adventure and living my life, well then you've got a stupid goal. So I think looking forward at my goals is, days or time, distance or time. Those would be reasonable goals. But also things where I'm going like, hey, what has your body proven to you? That you're in your 60s and that you're kind of used up. So if you're thinking about the adventures that you dreamed of even in your 40s, those are going to be hard. And you got to be ready to fail. And I'm not talking about having a bad attitude. I'm talking about having a realistic attitude. Because if you constantly set up goals that you fail at, where does that get you? Constant disappointment. Disappointment after disappointment. What is the point of that? I'd rather be pessimistic. And that's a dirty word to some people, but I'd rather be pessimistic and have lots of room to be wrong. I was pretty pessimistic that I'd be able to complete this trip. And it looks like I'm gonna. I've gone a hell of a long ways at this point. But starting out pessimistic made it so now I'm going like, what do you know? I was wrong. I can pull this off. And that is so much better than saying, I'm gonna go to Louisiana and I'm gonna do it in 3 days. I'm gonna paddle the whole way, Wisconsin to the Mississippi, and then down and get some Cajun food. Well, it just wouldn't happen. And so what would I do? Be really disappointed? Now that's a ridiculous goal, so it makes sense that I'd be disappointed. But I think the thing is that I'm thinking my goals that I've set for myself are less ridiculous than they actually are, and therefore I'm having a harder time letting go of them. If I said like, I'm going to ride my bicycle to the moon, that I failed, it should become as no big surprise because that goal is ridiculous. But as the ridiculousness of goals comes closer because you're older, then disappointment will be more common unless you kind of think about what kind of goals you're setting. Anyway, just to prove it to you, take a look. Yep, there's the bridge. Not far from the Mississippi. Another day should be there easy.